Hi everyone, my name is Junon. I have a health science background and I'm the author of the book Truth and Empathy, How to Find Your Soulmate. And I'll put a link to my book below. This video is the second part of Jesus Christ, the most famous INFJ. I'm going to put below a link to the first part. I wanted to further explore this topic because there are other anomalies that I've noticed that I did not expand on. So I have again some notes on screen so I don't miss anything. About 2 months ago, I was watching a documentary about Michael Jackson, and the presenter was arguing that he is the most successful entertainer of all time. So he compared him to like the Beatles and the Elvis Presley, but he said overall, Michael Jackson really stands out. And at the end of that documentary, he stated that the only person who's more famous than Michael Jackson is Jesus Christ. And I thought it was kind of interesting because Jesus Christ only preached for 3 years, 2,000 years ago, so from the age of 30 to 33, which is very different from most artists and even Michael Jackson because, for example, Michael Jackson was a child star. So he started around the age of 7 or 8 to perform, and his last official, series of concert was around the age 50. But obviously he died around that time. So in other words, it was a long career. The Bible is the best-selling book of all time. But Jesus Christ did not write the book, and he did not select the ghostwriter who would actually put together this book. The official Bible was created around 325 AD during the Council of Nicaea that the Emperor Constantine organized. They wanted to have an official version so that you have less conflict in terms of different ideas and to really unify the Roman Empire. So having Christianity as sort of like a guiding post was a good way to actually strengthen and actually keep the peace within that realm. So the Bible, for it to be the best-selling book of all time, is kind of odd. And yes, let's say if you are an artist, you will probably produce different books like movies, or even if you're, let's say you're Michael Jackson, you have different albums. I mean, the Michael Jackson peaked at the album Thriller. Yes, he continued to be very well known, but that was his most successful era. Now, what happens with let's say the Bible? It was not the case. It was written after Jesus Christ's death, so we're talking about like more than 300 years later. There were also so many contradictory sort of parts of the book. That's why people, let's say, who are atheists argue like, well, if you read one part of the book, God seems really angry and vindictive, and let's say different reports of different events. So in other words, it's not a coherent book, but yet it's still the best-selling book of all time, which is kind of really bizarre. And the other aspect also is that when you think about the translation to different languages, I mean, even if you're talking to someone and you are from the same culture, it's your mother tongue, the risk of having misunderstandings are pretty high. But when you're talking about topics such as afterlife and spiritual evolution, and you're talking to people whose brains are not wired like Jesus Christ, so we're not looking at the reality the same way. So all this, it did not sort of stand in the way for this book to still be the reference point for so many people in the world. I mean, nowadays, like we're more like 7 billion people on this planet, and a third of them are identify as Christians. So it's still something that's very much part of the fabric of our society. Even after 2,000 years and all the knowledge and the modern technology that we have discovered over the centuries, and attacks from different fractions of society, atheists, scholars who have really dissected the Bible and so forth, is that we still have not kill the Bible. If something is not true, you would think that after 2,000 years, someone would have come up with really strong arguments to actually say that this book is not worth studying and still be the bestseller book of all time, which is really sort of bizarre when you think about it. And it's what it is that most artists, you have to keep on producing new material, but the Bible has not changed. You have maybe different versions of it, but the core like books and text are pretty much the same. So you think yourself, well, like it basically tells you that absolute truth never is out of style. Like you can't have, let's say, a season in terms of fashion or music or movies, but when you're talking about absolute truth, it's always true. It was always true and will always be true. So you cannot sort of like dismiss it. You cannot just say, well, I can only practice for a short period of time. So the core message of the Bible, which is really truth and empathy, cannot be denied. It is incontrovertible. It is like gravity. And people might try to ignore it for a while, but also when you look at the history of Christianity, is that it took a while to take off. So people tend to resist absolute truth, but ultimately it will always win, because you cannot work against something that is undeniable. Based on Jesus Christ's story, it seems that some aspects of life on earth are predetermined, because he did predict that Christianity will be a major religion. It will be international. He said that his kingdom would be all over the world. And this is what we see here today. And how did he know 2,000 years ago? I mean, this is really mind-boggling. I think that, yes, we need to do the best we can in life, but if something will be yours, it probably will. We are, in a sense, not as free as we believe. There are some aspects of life that will happen no matter what. Since it's a springtime, I thought it would be interesting to explore the life of Jesus Christ, because people put so much emphasis on his death and resurrection that they don't realize the number of anomalies when it comes to his life journey. So really, Jesus' story is a testament to absolute truth. And regardless of the obstacle that he faced, he still was victorious at the end. So Jesus Christ's story is very inspirational, because if we follow the basic principles that are taught in the Bible, which is basically truth and empathy, we can find our way in this world. So let me know what you think about the content of this video by commenting below. If you like this video, if you learned something, please click on the like button. Also remember to click on the notification bell to be notified of other videos I'm going to be making. Subscribe to my channel, and we will talk soon.